Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome back to Rhinestone Island, and we're here again at the airport down here, the international airport. It's pretty much done now. I went in and checked all the comments, and I changed a few minor things here and there. One of the main things being that I had a whole bunch of jetways connecting the airplanes to the terminals over here in the cargo facility, which made no sense at all because, of course, you wouldn't have any passengers trying to enter in these planes. They're just cargo planes. So I replaced those with just some little staircase things over here for our pilots getting to their planes over on this side, and of course all across the cargo facility. But other than that, everything else is pretty much the same since last episode. I changed one thing though. I got a brand new mod. You might notice it right now, but if you can see here, these planes, which used to just despawn when I was like way up here, they now stay rendered in even all the way at the max zoom out. And that's all thanks to a mod by Bloody Penguin called the Variable Prop l.a.g mod. And this mod is fantastic. What it does is, instead of using the default prop draw distance, which I think is like the same for all the props, what it does instead is it takes into account the prop size, and then it uses that size to create a custom draw distance based on the size of the prop. So, for example, these gigantic planes here get much larger draw distances, which means that they stay rendered in even when I'm zoomed all the way out. And it seems this mod's actually pretty aggressive with the way it works, and it even gives larger l.a.g draw distances for some of these smaller props, like these little pipes and things around here. Like I can zoom out pretty far and they'll stay rendered in quite a bit longer than I expected them to. And it's actually really apparent when you go over to the Rico Harbor over here. You can see that this area, well, if you remember from previous episodes, it used to look really, really good from up close, but once you zoomed out maybe halfway or so, everything would just despawn and it'd be like a giant concrete flat chunk over here. But now you can see I'm zoomed all the way out, and even these little trains on the train track and these little, cargo pieces and big crate boxes and stuff, they all stay spawned in, which is really, really awesome. It looks so much better now. So huge shout out to Bloody Penguin for this awesome mod, and I mean he's made so many mods at this point that I use, so just giant shout out in general to Bloody Penguin for making these awesome mods. And you can see that it works really well pretty much everywhere in the city. Everything looks a lot more defined now with these little props that stayed rendered in all over the place. It does have a bit of a hit to performance, especially in the main part of downtown over here, but honestly, I don't really notice it too much. It's pretty reasonable. I mean, I'm still playing at a pretty smooth FPS, even though we're at the densest part of the entire island. We're not going to get this dense probably ever again. This is all going to be kind of rural stuff over here on this side, so and same over here, of course. So there's really not anything to worry about, and I'm really, really happy with the final result of this mod. So definitely recommend it to you guys if you guys want to check it out. It's in the mod and asset list that I have linked down below in the description. But anyway, that's everything that I think I've done off camera. And what we're going to do this episode is I want to jump in straight away and start working on this little area over here. There's going to be a bit of like a small town, kind of. I mean, it's not really like going to be a town per se, but more like just a little, maybe a few commercial shops here and there, and then pretty much entirely neighborhoods kind of spanning in these little foothills over here and kind of winding around this way and connecting over to our trailhead over here, and just kind of finishing off this part of the island over here. And so we'll do that first, and then we'll jump into a time lapse afterwards, kind of a backwards episode this time, and we'll time lapse the kind of wrapping up of this area over here and get as much done as we can, so that hopefully very soon we can finish up and be completely done with this whole half of the island over here, and that'll include the trailhead, so that'll probably take another episode on its own. But once we get all that done, then we can work on the next part of the island over here. So let's go ahead and jump in now and start working on our little neighborhood over here. Alright, so this is the start point here I want to use for our little town over on this side. And I want to kind of emulate a very small town that you kind of feel like at the middle of maybe a branch off of a few different neighborhoods. Just because I think it'd be kind of weird to have a dedicated little off-ramp interchange kind of thing just for, a few neighborhoods over here. We'd probably want to have at least a couple little small town elements around here. So let's go ahead and start off with just this main road here. Now, my plan with this road is I want to kind of signify this being the main small town road by kind of using these little cobblestone looking pieces here, just to kind of, you know, cover it and make it feel a little more like a middle of the town kind of road. So we'll have some different you know, little shops and things around here, and we'll define it more a little bit later. But let's go ahead and start with just some of the basic roads we want to have in here for this town. So I think around here we're gonna have a branch off, maybe like here or so, and then at this point in the town I want to definitely have a where would we use this, a gas station. Here we go, at the corner. So I'm thinking like right about here is a good spot for that. So we got a little gas station there, and then I want to try and use some of these things that I think would be found in more of a small town, like an old school church perhaps. Also, I like these little smaller restaurants kind of laying around, would also kind of fit, I think. So we'll see if we can get that in here, but I think I want the church to be, that kind of blocks the gas station a bit, and it's like kind of a weird spot, I think. Well, you know what? Let's do this instead. Let's put the church on this side and the gas station over here on this side. I'm going to use this other gas station instead. I think I'll use actually, I like this one better for this area. So now we got a little church over here. We got a nice little gas station on this side, and then we're definitely going to want to have at least one or two restaurants kind of like across the way. Maybe like a Hessburger over here. Let's see, or maybe just some commercial buildings as well. Let's see, what can we work with here? I think I want to use the restaurants primarily. So I like this little gardening store as well. It kind of just, I think, fits the whole feel of this area. And I also want to kind of cut off this little three-way here. So I'm gonna put this here instead, and then I think I'm gonna have some pavement that kind of shows where the parking is on this side, and I'm gonna use these little parks too. That I think this is gonna give us a bit of a straighter, cleaner look here. But I want to have a little turnoff on this side for, in fact, if we're gonna have a turnoff over here, we may as well move this over a bit further then. So let me put that back up here, and then we can have our parking be right over here. So I'll get to that in a minute, but let me first put down the next restaurant, which I think I'm gonna make it this this little Buffalo Grill place, because yeah, we got a nice little spot for the concrete over here on this side, and then I'll do that now actually. Something like this, and I'll clean up the back of this in a little bit here. That looks pretty good. There we go, a little Buffalo Grill, and then this is gonna have to start kind of wrapping up on the end of this little town. So I think that this will be the back, where we're gonna have it kind of do a little angle here and move towards some neighborhoods on this side. So with that in mind, I'm gonna bring this to about there, so we still hit that front piece, and then I'm gonna just smooth this out a little bit here. So let me grab our terraforming tool, and we'll just get something like this. I'll clean this up later on and shape everything up a bit better, not be so abrupt, but I wanted to get that flat for now. I'm also just gonna go ahead and remove, I think, a lot of these trees temporarily, because we have this prop and tree anarchy on, so I don't want to mess with drawing over trees on accident or anything like that. And we can always go back and add them in ourselves. So I'll just kind of delete them up around here, just like mostly along the foothills is the only real problem. Everything else is alright how it is. So I'll do that. There we go. So now we can move this more in this direction. Thinking something like this would look good. Try and get a better angle here though. That looks like it's pretty even. Yeah, that's perfect. So we just need to use a custom distance to make this fit right. That looks pretty alright to me. Awesome. Little curve in the road to head down towards the neighborhoods over there on that side. That's a good little thing there. And then, let's see. For this side, what are we missing in this little town? I mean, I think we definitely need a little fire station somewhere. So maybe this could go back. We definitely need a police station as well. And a health clinic. Can't forget about that. Kind of like the clinic being over here, just like the way that the concrete's going to work, it'll all look kind of smooth and conjoined. So I'll put the clinic there. Alright. And then we're going to need a fire department. So we'll get that in as well. And where's the restaurant going to go then? Maybe the restaurant could go down here. Let's bring this out a little bit further, so we have some room to work with here. So perhaps a little fire station or a police station over here. I'm going to leave a bit of space for a garden around this church. So I'm going to go like here and then have the police station there. And maybe even one more over, I think, on the police station. So I think I'd make the fire station here and the police station somewhere else, but one more over for that, and then we'll do the police station here. I'm going to leave some room for a bit of a back alley behind this gas station here. So, whoops, that's way too big. Go down to there. There we go. Just like that. Nice little back alley. And then, let's see, so we got now the fire, we got the police, we got the clinic, so that kind of covers all of our bases there. We don't have any education yet, but I'm going to put that down here in a minute. Probably a bit further away from the main part of the town here, but I'm kind of liking how it's shaping up so far. I think it looks kind of nice. So there's that, and then let's see. I wanted to get that Hesburger in somewhere. Let me just make sure that's the only other thing that I want to have here. Would be kind of cool to have a little library as well. We'll see if we have room for that in a minute, though. But yeah, it looks like that's everything else that I wanted. So for the Hesburger here, maybe throw this one. I think I would imagine this being a bit closer to the edge because you kind of see it from the highway here with that big sign. So maybe we'll put this one down like here. And then again, leave some room for some concrete between these two. Like that. Alright, so I decided after getting this base layout in here, you can see it's kind of hard actually to tell right off the bat where the base roads are, but we have one road coming in this way. It hits this little L-shaped intersection, and then we have the other main road going out in this direction, with this one being the third main road going out in this direction. So from there, I decided to try to give us a bit of a distance between these main roads and the neighborhood roads. But again, just from looking at a lot of different little small towns like this, I think it's pretty common to have the immediate area surrounding the town be some little dense neighborhoods, and then start to kind of spread out from there. So that's what I tried to do. I tried to make a couple little dead-end, cul-de-sac roads and a couple little more dense neighborhood pieces towards the middle here, and then start to spread out towards this kind of organic shape that I'm getting, just kind of approaching the airport from different angles, and doing this kind of thing. And I don't know, I think this is pretty, I think this is going to make the whole airport look really nice, because I think usually airports like this typically tend to have neighborhoods kind of like immediately outside of their area. And I always think it's kind of cool to be flying in on a plane and like go right over top of a neighborhood and then kind of come in for landing over here. I'm probably going to go in and make this fence a bit cleaner, because right now it's kind of oddly shaped, but once we get that fixed, it'll make more sense. And then I think I might even do a little walkway kind of around the airport, because I know it's kind of common to have little dirt trails that kind of walk all the way around the outskirts of the airport. So I might try and get that in there as well. But Anyway, now that we finally have the first little piece of this neighborhood in, I want to make sure we have plenty of coverage for water, which is the first thing we definitely need to get in here. And then also, of course, we want to have some electricity. So let's go ahead and hit that now. I'm just going to run a few pipes. I'm not going to have any going into that mountain over there, obviously, but we'll drop a few over here. We'll have it start going more this way. I'm going to bring a few pipes down here. Oh, that's not going to work. Alright, it's fine. I think that's also too steep of an angle. Yeah, it is. Alright. Let's do this instead then. So there's our water, and then we just need power now. So I think for the power, what I'm going to do is, I wonder if I can get like an elegant looking little power crossing here, if it's going to look bad. I'm not really sure how this is going to look. Oh, that looks nice. Let me see if I can center it more though, because I think I can. Yeah, that looks nice. There we go. Some nice power cables running across the top there. I kind of wish that we had stilts instead of big cement blocks that they're sitting on, though. So I don't know. It doesn't look as good as I kind of imagined it would, actually. I think instead of doing that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use these little power relays that I downloaded when I was trying to make these lights light up okay for the runways, and I'm going to try and toss a few of them in here in the middle, just one there actually. And then once we get that one in, we can use the poles again over here. Go ahead and just page this thing all the way down to the bottom. And probably just bring this down this way. Right to about there. That's perfect. And then we're going to have zoning here, but for now I'm just going to bring this all the way in, and then we'll bring it back once we get the zoning in. So there's that. We got the power now. We got some nice little zones popping up over here. Interesting. How did that work out? Oh, I see what happened there. Is that a... Oh, that looks kind of nice, actually. I don't think I really like the way this one came in, though. So I'm going to get rid of that and let that one regrow as well. And I think, other than that, we should be alright. And I'm going to do a few of those little condensed neighborhood tricks with the walkways there, so keep that in mind. But I'm just going to go ahead and basically just zone all of this residential. I think I'm going to leave these unzoned in the back, though. This will be 2x2s for now. We'll see if we do some commercial here later on. But go ahead and speed this up a little bit. And with these new schools over here, we should be good on education around here for a little while, which is good. We'll see what this looks like when they all start popping in here. But do we get... So water and electricity is good. What was I going to do over here then? Oh, right. We need to put down our little middle paths here so we just don't zone oddly. So we're going to do that. Just going to cut these off so we get nice little 2x2 houses through here. Same thing with this side over here. I wonder if we can get this to do this in a clean manner. I don't know if it's actually possible. Let's see. Oh, wow. Alright, that worked out. Awesome. Then I still have a few more spots over here that I also wanted to keep relatively dense over here. Primarily just these. So do that. And then I think this one I'm just going to have it connect to this over here. So we'll go to there. And do that. And then here, have it connect to this one. So like this. And then that. Awesome, that looks good. And that should do it for the little pathways there. So we're going to need some more traffic coming in this little interchange, and I'm hoping it's not going to cause too much backup. I know that the way the merging works over here, it seems to be occasionally causing some lines of cars to kind of back up, and then it seems to fix itself after a while, but hopefully it's not too big of a problem later on. Alright, so now I feel like with the addition of some of these more commercial buildings over here, and we got this last little bit of kind of dense neighborhood down on this side, we can finally start moving into the more organic stuff over here. So I think I'm going to really try and start spreading this out quite a bit, because again, I don't want this to be like a super dense town. I want it to be a kind of relatively small town, and it's getting pretty big with the level of density we have around here. So let's start moving this out a bit. And I think the first thing that I want to do is I want to take this road over here, and I want to start bringing it in this direction a little bit. So this will be kind of interesting to try and make all this stuff feel well, feel pretty spread out and all that good stuff. So I think what I want to do is I want to have this sort of a bit of a fork up here. So I'm going to bring it to about here, like that. And then from here, I'm going to have one of these go up a little bit like this, in this direction, and then one of these kind of move down a bit in this direction over here. Alright, pretty happy with that for this little side piece here in this neighborhood. And then I want to do something similar over here. So I think for this area, this is where I want to again come off of the road somewhere else. So let's go over here first and do the rest of the pavement road, because we're gonna have some more pavement neighborhoods that sort of do the same thing here. So we'll have this one come up like this, and wind this way a little bit. Alright, so I continued with these little dirt roads down in these areas, kind of just sort of going out like veins, just like out and towards the foothills around here. And I kind of just realized that it was a little bit hypocritical to be doing these dirt roads like this, but then leave all of these Kingston roads that were, or these used to be anyway, all concrete roads kind of paved right up into the foothills. And I also just kind of wanted to really reinforce the idea that we were moving out of neighborhoods and dense neighborhoods and into sort of mountain homes, which I think usually for the most part start to exist on dirt roads. So I went back and I made Kingston's roads all dirt roads, and I also made a lot of Mapleview and Caspian Ridge's roads dirt roads, just to kind of further reinforce the idea that we had some of these little nice mountain homes that were existing up in the mountains here. So that's what I did, and that's what I'm doing over here as well. Now you can see still sort of following that pattern as best as I can. I'm gonna keep on using these dirt roads around here to do that. So let's go ahead and continue with that. I want to get a few more. I'm kind of going in this direction, so I think for that I'm gonna use a little branch off from over here. So let me use a straight piece here for a minute, and then we'll do some similar patterns here. So maybe a nice smaller sort of tighter road there, and then this one's gonna go off in this direction. And I've been trying to do what I do with the dirt paths here, where I kind of create little tighter zigzags and then longer, and kind of vary it up a bit, make it feel a little bit more natural and a bit less like big, you know, controlled curves. So that's what I'm doing here with these little like entry points. Like for little entries to the roads, I'll make them like tight little turns and then immediately move into these like super long followed by tighter, you know, pieces here, just to make them feel a bit more well, I guess natural is the word I'm looking for. But so we'll bring this one out this way, and this one's gonna eventually cut in this direction, I think. So I'm gonna now prepare for that with a little piece out here, which is gonna be where we're gonna have a little split and have one go in this direction like this, and then this one's gonna go onto this side of the airfield. So we'll bring it over here, and then we'll have it start moving up towards the mountains here in this direction. So I think I want to have a few little homes up here as well. So I'm going to get rid of these trees temporarily. Let's go ahead and do that real quick. Just delete all of you guys. Nice little smooth area for some more mountain homes. So again, a nice tight little turn I'm gonna have a couple little tight wraparounds here because we're not gonna have any homes developing like immediately on this hill. But then right when we get up here, now we can start having some more roads that sort of follow this nice smooth pattern for you know, maximum number of homes built in these zones over here. So we got that. We can have maybe one more that sort of branches off here and wraps up this way. Maybe we'll have one that comes off this like this and sort of does the same thing over here. I don't know. I don't know if I like the way these are turning out. But I think that's okay how it is. So I'm going to leave that. And then we'll do another little piece up here like that. Yeah, that looks nice. I like that. And I'm going to bring it around this way, but I'm not going to go all the way over here. That seems a bit silly, a bit too far, I think, to drive off the main road. But I like that. I like how this is like one long road that I'm not even gonna put any homes, I think, like immediately on this road. Maybe a little bit over here where we have some more you know, neighborhoods and stuff, but I want to sort of separate these little chunks as we get further out here like this. So we got that one doing that. We'll have this one do its own thing over here. Same kind of idea though. And then we bring up the mountains over on this side. It kind of looks like a tree though, the way we start forming these. I kind of like. I think it's a cool little design to go with. Do something like this and kind of wrap back around, dead end this one over here. And then I think this one goes a little bit further than I'd like it to go. Just gonna bring it down to like here and then have it turn around like that. That's much better. And then I think I might do one more up here. Yeah, let's do one more of it that kind of starts to make its way up this way. Let's go ahead and start zoning then. I'm going to use the paintbrush for this zoning and make that a tiny bit. Can I make it? Oh, I guess you can't make it bigger. You just have like these default sizes. That's alright though. So we'll just go ahead and paint zone this. And here, let me see if I can define where I wanted these to go exactly. I actually think everything over here is pretty much alright, although I think I wanted to leave a few of these little winding turn areas barren, since we're kind of going up the mountain here and it's kind of crazy. So I might not zone these in particular so we can maintain the shape of this these foothills over here. I don't want the buildings to destroy that, so we'll leave that as is. And then I think I'm gonna do like a few little houses like way out on these, but nothing nothing crazy. I want it to be kind of like an empty road here. I'm gonna do some little telephone lines and all that stuff. And then we'll get back over to this area, some more neighborhoods. So we're gonna have pretty much full zoning again over here. I'll just full zone all this. I'm gonna have to go back and dezone some of these on the steep hill parts, but do that in a second here. Let me just zone everything else. There we go. Alright, so now for the dezoning, we don't want to have anybody growing here for sure, or here, or really there either. We'll just leave that little spot. That's okay. This is not. That's okay. That's good. Okay. So we got this. Don't have any water over there. Gonna have to deal with that in a second here, so I'll leave this as is. But I'll start zoning this side again as well. And then I think for these, we're really just going to zone pretty much everything. There really weren't a lot of places where I didn't want any houses growing, so I'll just full zone this. This is going to definitely lead to a lot more people trying to get off that exit. So I might have to revamp our situation over here to prevent any clogging from all these people leaving the airport and people trying to enter this exit over here. So we'll worry about that later on, but I'm probably going to have to revamp that a little bit. Make it more of a manageable thing. But I'll zone some more residential up here. Go. and pretty much cover everything. Perfect. Looks good. And then I want to do some commercial here because we're gonna have some commercial demand after a while. And you'll probably notice that this is gonna like skyrocket for a little while because they'll just be constantly building homes, and there won't be any time where there's not places to build homes for a little while. So our demand for residential is going to go way down, but it's actually just kind of skewed while they're building new homes. And once it all kind of gets filled out, then it'll show a more accurate result for that. So let's get some water in here for these guys so they have access to clean water and sewage and all that good stuff. We'll do that. I'm just going to kind of roughly cover this area with our pipes here. There we go. And then for electricity, I think I'm gonna run a little pole down this road here, just because I kind of think this is supposed to be like the main road, the main dirt road for these neighborhoods way out here, and I'm probably going to be blocking off a lot of zoning, aren't I? Oh yeah, wait, hang on a minute. I don't think I actually want to do that way. I don't want to block the zoning with these telephone poles, so hang on a minute. What's a better way to do this then? You know what, I'm going to use a different... I have some... where are they? Ah, here they are. Little utility poles. These look much better to me than the other ones. So I'll use these, and these are props too, so they can go anywhere. And we'll just kind of plop them down every so often here. Okay, that's better. Anyway, that's much better. But I want to make this feel like a nice little country road that goes off to some more little neighborhoods down here. And we need to get some power out here. So I'm going to use these little power relays that I got. Oh, you know what? Actually, we have the power right here, so I just can put one maybe like right alongside this gate like that, and that'll kind of work just fine. I might put a little outpost station here for maintenance or something on this side, but anyway, there's that. So now we're growing some more homes again. Hopefully we will be in a minute anyway, once this kind of RCI stuff balances out. But yeah, I think that we are pretty much good on the development of this area. So now that this is all developed, what I want to do is I want to jump in and start detailing this little downtown area, make it really feel like a cool small town. Now, I'm not like a huge fan of these buildings over here. They feel a little bit too big, but they are low density. They're like the smallest density, just like the highest level of them, and I can't really control what they grow into. So because of that, I think I'm just gonna live with it. I might use the eyedropper tool actually. Oh yeah, I forgot that I had that. I wonder if we can grab some restaurants that I want to use, because I remember seeing a few grow in that I really liked the way they looked. Maybe we can find a few around here, but I'll do that whenever we start detailing this area anyway. But yeah, I want to go in, I want to make this feel like a nice little small town. We're going to use, like I said, some of these little cover-ups for the road to make it look like it's a little cobble road, and we'll shape this whole area up and make it look nice. So let's jump into that time lapse now and get started on the detailing, and then I'll come back at the end and take a look at the final product. Alright, so that's it for this episode. I'm really happy with how this little town area turned out on the other side of this highway next to the airport. I wanted to go in and just really focus on the town itself and make sure we had that little strip at the beginning, and we had the little trailhead entry point and the different little buildings and things all surrounding it. All that stuff kind of wrapped up and looking nice, and also just get the trees and things kind of spread out along all the different little neighborhood areas, and that way we'd be ready to go ahead and finish off the rest of the island next episode when we get into all the different trailhead stuff and all that stuff. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed, and as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.